Tonight on Global TV News Prime, FG, NBA, UNICEF partner to provide pro bono legal services for children. In business, SEC launches drive to recover unclaimed dividend, inherited assets. And on the foreign scene, voters head to polls amid economic hopes and political tests ahead of Zambia election. In sports, Henry Kane wins European Golden Shoe after 73-goal season. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, Star Times, channel 276, and Free TV. Now, the news info. The federal government has entered into a partnership with the Nigerian Bar Association and the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, to provide pro bono legal services to vulnerable children across Nigeria. Speaking at the event in Abuja, the Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi-San, said the protection of children's rights is a responsibility of government and not a privilege, stressing that access to justice is a fundamental right. Obong Usoro has the details.
Nigeria continues to face serious challenges relating to child abuse, violence, exploitation, and other violations against children. Every year, children are exposed to abuse, neglect, unlawful detention, exploitation, and stigma, with many unable to seek justice because of financial and social barriers. The federal government, in partnership with the Nigerian Bar Association and UNICEF, is seeking to address this gap by strengthening access to free legal representation for children whose rights have been violated. Stress the need for stronger institutional collaboration to ensure that children are protected and have access to effective legal remedies whenever their rights are violated.
Access to justice is not a privilege. It is a fundamental right of every child. A child who comes into contact with the law, whether as a victim, witness, or alleged offender, deserves a system that protects, not harms, that restores, not stigmatizes, and that hears, not silences.
The NBA president, Afam Osigwe, ACN, said pro bono legal services for children who cannot afford representation must become a core responsibility of lawyers involved in public interest litigation.
When they also become judges, they will take this knowledge to the bar, to the bench. But either way, whether you train the judges, lawyers alone, and subsequently train the judges, the important thing is to have a solid foundation for a bar-bench relationship.
The UNICEF country representative in Nigeria said no child should be left without access to justice, particularly in cases involving unlawful detention, abuse, violence, and other violations of their rights.
A lot of work to do to make sure that all children have access to justice and representation at all times. And it was a natural thing, actually, that the National Bar Association became a partner because they can be in touch with so many lawyers.
The partners say the initiative will strengthen access to justice for vulnerable children while promoting accountability and ensuring that violations of children's rights are properly addressed. Ubong Usoro, Global TV News.
The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has appealed to all political parties and their candidates at the August 15th Ogun governorship election to sheath their swords and allow peace to prevail before, during, and after the poll. National Chairman of the IPAC, Mamon Dantali, made the appeal at a news conference in Abuja amid growing political tension ahead of Saturday's election. National Chairman of IPAC, Mamon Dantali, warned political actors against turning the election into a war zone, insisting that the contest must be based on ideas, policies, programs, and the popularity of the candidates and their parties. He said, the people of Osun State must be allowed to freely exercise their constitutional right to choose their governor without intimidation, harassment, inducement, violence, manipulation, or undue interference.
Political parties and candidates must uphold democratic norms. Political parties and candidates are the principal actors in the electoral process and have a special responsibility to protect the integrity of democracy. We therefore call on all political parties, candidates, campaign organizations, supporters, and their agents to conduct their activities in accordance with the Constitution, Electoral Act, and applicable regulations. Therefore, urges the EFCC to exercise utmost caution, professionalism, and restraint in the discharge of its mandate, and ensure that its actions do not inadvertently punish innocent citizens for alleged infractions they neither committed nor facilitated. The fight against corruption must be pursued vigorously and without political consideration.
Moving on to the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has appealed to Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to support the federal government in funding the construction of service lanes and drainage infrastructure along the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. Umahi made the appeal during a stakeholder engagement on the Coastal Highway and other federal infrastructure projects in Lagos. Addressing the governor, the minister said additional funding from the state would be necessary to deliver the service lanes and drainage channels required to complement the main highway. 1,500 couples have been joined in matrimony under the Kano State Government's Mass Marital Wedding Program. The two-day ceremony began with the Fatiha at the Kano Central Mosque on Friday and continued with a reception at the Government House on Saturday. Among the newlyweds is a man who lost his wife and 6 children in a tragic attack, while the presence of children from previous mass weddings offered a reminder of what the program hopes to achieve. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin tells us details.
For these couples, Friday marked the beginning of a new chapter. At the Kano Central Mosque, 1,500 couples gathered for the wedding Fatiha, surrounded by the religious leaders, traditional rulers, family members, and government officials. But for one groom, the occasion carried a much deeper meaning. After losing his wife and 6 children in a tragic attack earlier this year, Haruna Bashir was among those given another opportunity to rebuild his life through the mass wedding program. His story reflects the human side of a program that goes beyond the celebration of marriage. The wedding Fatiha, conducted under the leadership of Emir Muhammad Sanusi II, attracted prominent personalities from across the Northwest, including Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, his deputy Murtala Sulegaru, government officials, as well as religious and traditional leaders. By Saturday, the solemnity of the mosque had given way to a colorful reception at the Kano Government House. The newly married couples were received by Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, his counterpart of Jigawa State Umar Namadi Modi, who congratulated them and urged them to build their homes on love, patience, and mutual understanding.
We gather here to facilitate and rejoice with the 1,500 couples who have been united in marriage under our administration novel Aurangata program, popularly known as Auranzorawa. But we call it Aurangata because not every one of you is Bazawara.
One of the symbolic moments of the reception came when the governor carried children from previous mass weddings. The sight offered a glimpse of what happens after the wedding ceremony. Families are formed, children are born, and the new generations begin to emerge. For the Kano State government, it is also a reminder of the longer-term impact of the mass wedding program, and the government says its support does not end with the Fatiha. Each bride received 100,000 naira as dowry and another 100,000 naira as startup capital for a small business. The grooms were also provided with food items to help them begin their married lives, while furniture and other household items were handed over to the couples at the reception.
Aurangata is not just an event. It is a worship of values, honor, family strength, religious commitment, a responsible community living on this day. About 1,500 couples will be united in a holy matrimony and investment in peace, morally, and the future of Kano State.
Speaking on behalf of the Northwest Governors Forum, Katsina State Governor Dukwaratda says the intervention will help reduce the financial burden associated with marriage and provide the couples with support as they establish their homes. From the Solemn Fatiha on Friday to the celebration at Government House on Saturday, the two-day ceremony brought together faith, government intervention, and community support. For the 1,500 couples, the wedding ceremony is now over, but the real journey, building homes, raising families, and creating a future together, has just begun. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
Congratulations to the newlyweds. Over now to the Center of Information Technology and Development, CIDED, has launched the Pulsar Monitor, a digital platform designed to identify and document cases of privacy abuse ahead of the 2027 general elections. And the organization says protecting citizens' digital rights is becoming increasingly important as technology plays a bigger role in political campaign and civic participation. Again, Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin tells us more.
As Nigeria begins preparations for the 2027 general elections, attention is increasingly shifting beyond the traditional political space to the digital environment. Social media and other online platforms are becoming major channels for political campaigns, public debate, and sharing of information. But with this growing digital participation comes concern over privacy, surveillance, and the misuse of personal information and other forms of online abuse. It is against this backdrop that the Center for Information Technology and Development, CITAD, has launched the Pulsar Monitor. The initiative is designed to identify, document, and monitor cases of privacy abuse and other digital rights concerns as the country moves toward the 2027 elections.
This is AI-trained agents that would go and look at all the handles that have been submitted to it, whether social media handles, whether websites, it would give you an analysis of its status.
According to CITAD, the platform will use technology to monitor the digital environment and provide information that can help identify emerging threats to citizens, privacy, and digital rights. The initiative also seeks to encourage greater awareness and accountability among stakeholders involved in the electoral process. The launch comes at a time when Nigerians are increasingly depending on digital platforms for political information, campaign, and civic engagement. For civil society organizations, monitoring the digital environment before, during, and after elections could provide an additional layer of accountability and help protect citizens' rights. It could also help stakeholders respond more quickly to emerging digital threats that may affect political information or access to information.
The other one is that it would also fetch the handles and tell us whether your social media handle, whether X or Meta had been suspended, restricted or not, and so forth. The third aspect is that there's a reporting platform for people who receive unsolicited messages,
As Nigeria moves closer to 2027, the conversation around electoral integrity is no longer limited to what happens at the polling stations. Increasingly, attention is also turning to what happens online, how personal information is collected and used, how citizens are protected, and whether the digital space remain open and accessible for political participation. For CITAD, the objective is clear: ensuring that the growing use of technology in Nigeria's electoral process does not come at the expense of citizens' privacy and digital rights. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
Niger State government has confirmed 17 deaths from diphtheria out of 124 cases recorded in 3 local government areas within the last 7 months. The Commissioner for Health, Murtala Bagana, disclosed this while presenting an overview of the state health sector at the second quarter press parley organized by the State Ministry of Information and Orientation in Mina. Bagana said 103 patients had been treated and discharged, while 17 deaths were recorded in Bida, Suleja, and Shiroro local government area. He added that 3 new cases were recently identified, with 1 patient currently receiving treatment. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to promoting peace, tolerance, and social cohesion among Nigerians. The president stated this during the National Maulud of Sheikh Ahmed Tijani held in Kano State. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin tells us more.
The event brought together Islamic scholars, traditional rulers, political leaders, and followers of the Tijaniya Order. For the faithful gathered here, this is more than a religious gathering. It is an occasion to reflect on the teachings of Islam, the importance of peaceful coexistence, and the responsibility of Muslims to contribute to the unity and stability of the society. The National Maulud of Sheikh Ahmed Tijani brought together followers of the Tijaniya Order from Kano and beyond. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, reaffirmed his administration's commitment to peace, tolerance, and social cohesion, urging Nigerians to continue to live together despite their differences.
This day is not merely a cultural event. It is an act of devotion. It is a time when hearts return to Allah, when love for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is renewed.
The gathering also provided an opportunity for religious leaders to emphasize the values of brotherhood, mutual respect, and peaceful engagement. Among those at the Maulud was Sheikh Mahi Inyas, son of Sheikh Ibrahim Inyas, alongside the Kano State Deputy Governor Murtala Sulegaru and other prominent Islamic scholars and leaders of the Tijaniya Order. The event was hosted by the Emir of Kano, Amina Ado Bayero, at his Nasarawa Palace, whose presence and that of other religious and traditional leaders gave the gathering a wider message of unity and cooperation.
My prayer and wishes are that as we have converged at this event safely, I hope we have a successful event and go back home safely. I also pray that Allah protects our dignity and religion.
For Kano, which has a long history of Islamic scholarship and religious gatherings, the Maulud provided another platform for prayers for the state and the country.
This Maulud is not just a celebratory event. It is an opportunity to reflect on our religion, an opportunity to draw closer to Allah and to uphold the virtues and teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad.
The participants also prayed for peace, security, and prosperity in Nigeria, calling on the faithfuls to uphold the values of tolerance, compassion, and peaceful coexistence. The message from the gathering is therefore extending beyond the celebration itself. It is a call for Nigerians to respect their differences, strengthen their bond, and work together for a more peaceful society. As the country moves forward, religious gatherings such as this continues to provide platforms for reflection, dialogue, and prayers for national peace. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
You are watching the live broadcast of News Prime. News Prime continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Thank you for joining us. It's been a rather unsettled start to the week across Nigeria, with the past 24 hours bringing spells of rains and thunderstorms in several parts of the country, while the south remains largely cloudy with intermittent showers. And as we head into Tuesday, the atmosphere is expected to remain quite active, particularly across most parts of the northern Nigeria. The early hours could bring thunderstorms and moderate rains over parts of Kebbi, some parts of Zamfara, Jigawa, Kaduna, Bauchi, and also Borno, with part of Plateau, Niger, and Kogi State also expected to be affected. For the south, expect predominantly cloudy skies with light intermittent rains over the south-south and parts of the southeast, as well as parts of Ogun, Ondo, and Lagos states. As the day progresses, rainfall is expected to increase with moderate rain possible across the northeast, the northwest, and parts of the central region. So stay weather aware and plan accordingly. Thank you for watching.
Welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Prime on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the Securities and Exchange Commission has launched a nationwide campaign to help investors and beneficiaries recover unclaimed dividends and inherited investment as part of effort to strengthen investor protection and reduce dormant assets to Nigerian capital market. Speaking at the event, SEC Director General Dr. Emomotimi Agama said the Commission was addressing a long-standing challenge that has prevented many families from assessing investments left behind by deceased relatives. The initiative, which was unveiled in Abuja through the Probate Unclaimed Monies Awareness and Investor Clinic, seeks to educate investors, beneficiaries, and estate executors on probate procedures, estate administration, and the process for assessing inherited financial assets. Residents of Kabo local government area of Kano State have received clean cooking stoves under the Sustainable Empowerment Program of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI. The initiative is aimed at promoting cleaner cooking, reducing dependence on traditional cooking methods, and improving household livelihoods. The adoption of electric vehicles is gradually transforming Nigeria's transportation landscape as more motorists embrace cleaner and more cost-effective alternatives to conventional petrol and diesel-powered cars. Driven by rising fuel prices, lower maintenance costs, and growing awareness of environmental sustainability, electric vehicles are becoming increasingly common on roads in major cities across the country. And on the foreign scene, Indian students in Jakarta have intensified protests over alleged irregularities in government recruitment examinations, with demonstrators demanding the cancellation of several tests and an investigation into their conduct. The demonstrations come in growing frustration among young Indians over fairness of public sector's examinations, which are a major route to employment in the country where millions compete for limited government jobs. Moving on now, Zambians head to polls on Thursday in presidential election, expected to test President Kahade economic reforms and the country's reputation for peaceful democratic transition, with corporate debt, foreign investments, and the cost of living among the major issues shaping campaign. Voters are hoping the election will bring meaningful change and improve their livelihoods. And in sports stories now, the organizers of Game Changer Unity Football Tournament have described the competition as a platform for youth development, unity, and grassroots football promotion. The tournament, which ended in Abuja, attracted teams, football enthusiasts, and long crowd with participants commending the organizers for creating an avenue for young talents to showcase their abilities. Moving on now, Harry Kane has been awarded the European Golden Shoe for the 2025-26 season after finishing as Europe's leading league goal scorer. The England captain earned the prestigious individual award following another prolific campaign with Bayern Munich. The European Golden Shoe is presented to the leading goal scorer across Europe's top domestic divisions. Each season, Kane scored 73 goals across the season, including 12 for England, matching his best international return since the 2021-22 campaign. As Global TV News Prime comes to an end, here is a recap of our top stories again. Brought to you that the federal government has entered into a partnership with the Nigerian Bar Association and the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, to provide pro bono legal services to vulnerable children across Nigeria. And in business Securities and Exchange Commission has launched a nationwide campaign to help investors and beneficiaries recover unclaimed dividends and inherited investments as part of effort to strengthen investor protection and reduce dormant assets in Nigeria's capital market. And on the foreign scene, Zambians head to the polls on Thursday in a presidential election expected to test President Hakainde Hichilema's economic reforms and the country's reputation for peaceful democratic transition. And finally, in sports, Harry Kane has been awarded the European Golden Shoe for the 2025-26 season after finishing as Europe's leading league goal scorer. Now that's it on News Prime. Here's a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276, and Free TV. Now kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.